Hey guys, I am back again for another McFarlane Toys Superpowers figure review, and right off the bat, it's a brand new Superman figure. I'm not making any promises, but the upcoming James Gunn Superman movie really has me more excited to buy more Superman merch again. Not to mention, considering that this overall Superman sculpt, I was a little hesitant on this figure release, to be honest. So, well, one reason definitely be quite a few reasons actually when I start seeing the figure in certain reviews and stuff like that. But regardless, I really wanted to pick this up because I am a fan of the sculpt, and not to mention, it's another good-looking Superman figure that is finally out in the Superpowers line, and it actually matches, or at least supposedly matches, the original Kenner design, because, well, why wouldn't it be? But again, it's very great regardless that we finally got a new Superman figure, now in the form of the Kenner body. Not like the one that I reviewed a long while ago at first, which, again, we'll be making comparisons, and we'll be getting to which one that I like better. So, right off the bat, the package design over here, it's the typical standard Superpowers, McFarlane style logos and all that. It's like the typical standard that looks really good, though the image of Superman is a lot smaller over here, but it still looks pretty cool. It's still a pretty nice image overall for Superman, though I can't say the same about the skin tone. My camera automatically changed color, but you can definitely see the top right there, the DC logo, which, you know, we're finally getting rid of that one and finally moving on to a brand new logo that is more reminiscent of what DC should be. Not to get personal, I'm just tired of seeing that logo. I'm ready for the new one. Here we got all the different Superpowers figures, starting from when we first got the first three initial figures like Superman, Darkseid, and Batman. Then they worked their way all around to like now having at least 45 or so figures. They actually have at least 3 more or a few more, but they're all like convention exclusives. But yeah, I haven't been buying enough of these figures because most of them I'm not entirely 100% interested in, or I just haven't gotten to buying some of them yet. I still have yet to own like at least one of the Flash figures. But definitely I will be picking up another Superman figure someday, which is definitely the Max Fletcher's Superman figure, which is basically number 38 over there. Yeah, you can see there's number 38. That's the Superman figure that I may pick up soon someday. And I also will be picking up Bizarro someday. Then we got the names of the figures on each number of side, and then we got the vehicles right here, which is Blue Beetle's Bug Ship and Brainiac's Skull Ship. Superman's bio, logos at the top, and nothing else to go over. So now we could go ahead and finally take this figure out of the package. All right, so now we got our new Superman out of the package. Honestly, I just have to say it. There are things I genuinely love about this figure and things that I genuinely don't love about this figure. But I'm going to go ahead and start off with the things I love, because let's go ahead and take a closer look at this figure. I really do like this figure, and the overall direction to give Superman a grin is really good. I like that. Though, let me zoom it in. The camera's not picking it up, but you can definitely see that they painted his grin. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. Yeah, look at that. I actually really like that. Like, oh, come on, you got to give Superman at least something to smile about. Like, I like that they gave him a grin. That's just very nice. Also, I really do like the blue they paint. I actually like the blue they painted on the costume a little bit more than I thought I would. It's really actually picking up good on the camera though. I like that. I also really like the sculpt. Again, like I said, the sculpt is really good. It's almost basically identical, but not 100% the same to the original Kenner version. Again, I also do think the head sculpt is pretty good too. The head sculpt is almost identical, though this is the only thing that's ever different is really just the grin. Like he's like a lot more happier than just basically having a closed mouth. I mean, it's really good. As far as I'm concerned, they nailed the likeness of Superman. He's also got the Titan fist. The overall classic outfit is done justice with this overall sculpt. It just looks very nice. And the cape is also very nice too. It's a nice soft fabric. It's got the S emblem on the back. And it can be removable just like the previous Superman. Then you can see the back, basically pretty basic right there. Nice proportions, everything you see here. Might not be able to see too cool. Okay, there you go. That's a lot better. Again, the proportions are nice. Beefy comic book appearance, as it should be. So, yeah. My overall positives on this figure is that it's definitely a very, very good looking sculpt. It's just an overall very cool figure. But at the same time, here is where my issues come to play. And it's just mostly nitpicks that don't technically make the figure an absolute like disaster, because the figure is good. But here are my issues, obviously. And I know most people have pointed it out already. One, the biggest and most noticeable one, is the skin tone. Now, of course, it's not entirely a terrible looking skin tone. And also, it's not the first time I picked up a tan skinned Superman figure. I will bring out another example in a bit. Here's one of my other examples of a tan skinned Superman. This is the DC Infinite Heroes 3¾ inch Superman right here. So yeah, like I said, another example of a tan skinned Superman, but this one's skin tone is, well, on the camera it does pick up a little off, but it's not nearly as bad because I guess maybe it's probably just the blue or something, but I don't know. But as you can see the difference in okay, the scaling is one thing, but the difference in the skin tone is very apparent. One is a lot more lighter than the other. Not to mention, another reason why I have an issue with the skin tone is really just how it picks up on camera. And it can be a little jarring to look at sometimes because I'm not so used to Superman with a certain type of skin tone like this, especially when it comes to like trying to capture something that was like everybody's favorite action figure of the 1980s. And to make that comparison very clear, I'm bringing out the one that's already right next to, and that's the first wave version that they had back a few years ago. And a lot of people, or some people, have already said that it's not their favorite sculpt. Personally, I love this sculpt. It's definitely one of my favorite figures. They didn't obviously recreate the entire figure, but they matched the spirit of the 1980s figure, in my opinion. The S emblem also, which again is another nitpick I haven't got into, but the S emblem on this figure is perfect. This one, it's really just the overall red S in general is a little thinned down. It's not as thick as this because, well, that's one of the main things I have to go on and talk about is that, well, the S symbol is a little bit less, spectacular looking on the new version. It's a nitpick. And also, like I have to say, like again, that skin tone, it makes a world of difference. And the shades of blue are different on the figure too. I like both looks of the shades of blue. They look pretty nice. So there's really no big issues in between the two. And like, of course, I'm definitely going to go ahead and say that I still love the original one more, mainly because it's a new looking version of something that is classic. So I really do appreciate the old one still to this day. That one still matches the overall spirit of an 80s action figure. So that's what I gotta really say is like I love this figure still. I don't really care what people say, but this figure here, despite my obvious grievances when it comes to the nitpicking of the S emblem and the skin tone, they definitely still did a good job on this figure. I can't really say that this is a bad figure or a disappointment, but again, can't really lie about it either. It's not a perfect figure, but it's just such a good looking Superman figure. I couldn't pass on this offer, and I really did wanted to buy this at first glance despite the few issues they had on this figure. So these are the only two Superpowers McFarlane Toys figures that I actually own right now that has the obvious original Kenner aesthetic while still having a few slight changes. Like, of course, with Batman, it was the mask color change, or at least the mask color difference. And with Superman, it's just the grin. And of course, the skin tone. But overall, they both look really nice together. He's even perfect right next to this Lex Luthor figure from the Toy Biz toy line. But if I really want to go ahead and compare it to one figure that is just as compatible, is the Spin Masters Val Kilmer Batman Forever Batman figure. I mean, just look, that is super compatible. And I couldn't get over making this obvious comparison. It's just nice. He even goes good with the retro style Wonder Woman right here. And here he is with retro style Nightwing. I mean, come on. I had to. Not to mention, the reason why I say this couldn't have been their best figure is because I already still voted that Nightwing is still the best Superpowers figure from McFarlane Toys, and there is no change in my mind on that one. Also, here's Superman right next to my animated series Lois Lane figure, which is the only Lois Lane figure I have that is compatible with any Superman figure I have, for now at least. And here is every Superman figure I own so far. Okay, one of them is literally hiding in the frame, but I don't know how to get him in frame, but yeah, you know what? Let's just go with that. So, of course, to recap, I have the Christopher Reeve Mattel Superman, the movie figure from the DC Multiverse toy line back in the like mid-2010s or something. Well, yeah, that's still one of my favorite figures to this dang day. But then you also got some DC Infinite Heroes figures like the Kingdom Come Superman figure right there, and the standard Superman right there. Superpowers, McFarlane's Superman, well, both Superman figures right here. And of course, you got the Spin Masters Superman figures in the 4-inch toy line. So you got the translucent Target version, the standard version, and then you got this guy right here, which is basically another version of the character. But I found this one on eBay, just has custom clothing to, do the typical like Clark Kent rips the shirt maneuver. So technically, I got another version of the Superman Returns figure. But yeah, you got that. And then I got my custom Clark Kent figure right here, which I did a video on, which you can check that out. And then over here, you have, well, that guy right there. You got the black suit Superman, or the solar suit Superman, or whatever. The regeneration outfit, in my opinion, that's what that's really supposed to be. And of course, you got the Superman Returns figures at the back, which I have reviewed. Well, one of them I only used for a stand-in for the Superman toy movie that I filmed a few years ago. But these two, these were really fun figures, of course. The Clark the Superman action figure in the middle and the X-Ray Superman figure at the other side. Alrighty, so that's going to be it on this review of the new Superpowers McFarlane Toys Superman figure. This is technically in the 9th wave of the many Superpowers figures that are still being released or still out right now. But yeah, I obviously picked this up on eBay because I couldn't find this in stores. But again, still a nice find. Definitely still pleased with the action figure despite my grievances on certain aspects of the figure. And I really can't hate this figure. I just gotta really say it. It's definitely still a nice figure in general. I definitely do love this figure despite my obvious problems with it. It's not the best Superman figure I own at this point, but it's still one of my favorites already because the overall sculpt, but it's just not entirely on the top spot. It's just a figure that I genuinely like. And if anything, when it comes to a Superman figure being on the top spot, you got that guy right there. That's still my favorite. But yeah, all in all, I really like this figure. I still like the original one more, but I like this figure. That's all I gotta really say about this. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will be seeing you guys later.